until I take my dying breath. I will never let you go. I will never let you go.
Hi, this is David Smith. I'm here this morning with Aubrey Kavanaugh and Alan Rosenberg. We're talking about Colorado on No Kill in Motion today. Colorado has a bill coming up, HB 211160. It has the title of care for uh, animals in pet facilities. But when you read the bill, there's a lot of confusion out there. There's a lot of opposition in Colorado. There are people for it, obviously, because there are shelters that actually brought it forth. But there's a lot of contention going on. A lot of people think it'll be a bad bill because of the way it's written. And I wanted to see what your thoughts were today. So, Alan, I think you haven't had a chance to look at the bill. What do you think?
Uh, David, I think this is a blatant attempt to kill shelter reform in Colorado. As you know, we all support the Companion Animal Protection Act, which provides real substantive reform that makes shelters do minimal efforts or reasonable efforts to save lives. This bill basically has the appearance of doing that, but does not do that. They require shelters to save all, quote, healthy and safe animals, but those definitions are so nebulous that allows shelter directors to still kill any animal they want under those really nebulous definitions. Um, Even worse, they specifically state shelters don't have to save animals in any emotional or mental distress. So a depressed dog, you can kill it. A scared cat, you can kill it. Furthermore, the bill specifically states shelters don't have to save feral cats, which we all know are one of the most commonly killed animals in shelters. The other really disturbing part of this bill is it's also an effort to kill off the innovative no-kill animal control shelter competition of the wealthy behemoth organizations in Colorado. Specifically, there is a provision here that shelters can't allow animals to ever be in kennel stress. And while no-kill advocates like us always want shelters to do everything they can to alleviate kennel stress, the fact of the matter is there's always going to be a very small segment of the animal shelter population when you're saving every healthy and treatable animal that are going to experience kennel stress for short periods of time. In this bill, if you can't get the animals out of the shelter, those animals must be killed. That's the implication. And that goes against no-kill sheltering philosophies. So really, what is this all about? It's about maintaining the status quo of these wealthy organizations. Denver Dumb Friends League had $124 million of net assets last year per their last Form 990. Their CEO made $276,000 of total compensation last year. The other two organizations I know are involved in this, their CEOs made a combined $343,000 and $217,000 last year. So what this is about is maintaining the status quo. What is that? That means saving costs by killing the local animals that are a challenge, then transporting easy to adopt animals from out of state under a pet store business model to rake in the cash to feed these exorbitantly paid executives so they can keep on really living the good life. So
I
bottom line, I think it's disgusting. I think it's abhorrent and it's grotesque and it must stop.
Thank you, Alan. I actually looked at the 990s, and I was trying to figure it out, and I didn't quite come up with those numbers. And I know that you, you know those better than I do. So I knew it was a lot. And what you just said actually raised my eyebrows because I didn't realize it was that much. Because I was looking at all of them at the same time and trying to combine them and see what was going on. Because there are 5 shelters together that are the wealthiest in Colorado that have combined for this law. Aubrey, I'd like to hear what you have to say.
Nothing good. This bill is not only deceptive, I find it incredibly dangerous. And the reason is this. If you glance at the bill, and if most citizens were to glance at the bill, on its face, it looks okay. I mean, people that are not in our circles, that don't understand how animal shelters function and how they use words to destroy animals, may think it's all right. I mean, there's this kind of vague definition of healthy, vague definition of safe. And I think a lot of people that are not immersed in the weeds like we are would say, well, what's wrong with this bill? Well, what's wrong with this bill is those words can be used to end the lives of animals. It's also a play to get something called socially conscious sheltering to be what's a norm in animal sheltering. And I think that if one state enacts a law that talks about SCS and makes it like some type of standard, I'm afraid it's going to spread like a terrible disease. And like we've talked about before, socially conscious sheltering, it's based on the 5 freedoms, and it doesn't include the freedom to live. And it provides a lot of political cover to, as Alan talked about, to destroy animals for simple behaviors. And I think that as innocent as it looks, it's not innocent at all, because it's going to provide political cover for the killing to continue. I think that people that don't deal with legislation or speak out about bills a lot, they presume that there is good intent behind a bill like this. That may be the case for some shelters and rescues, but for others, they're going to use those very words to kill animals. And what I would tell people in Colorado is this: think about how this would apply to your own animals. I will tell you from my perspective that if this bill were enacted and I was in Colorado with our dog that we had years ago named Snake, she was a dog's dog. She was very protective of her family. If she ended up in a Colorado shelter, she would probably lunge at the kennel gate, because it would be a strange environment for her. She might even show her teeth, because shelter environments are completely unnatural environments for dogs and cats. So she would probably be killed because she would be deemed to not be safe. On the other hand, the next dog that we had after her, whom we found in a cow pasture, in his kennel, he would probably just hide in the corner and not make eye contact. So this bill could be used to destroy my dog, saying, well, he's suffering emotionally. So I think that we need to look beyond the simple words and look beyond what the ramifications are for people's dogs and cats that may end up in shelters. We should never destroy animals because they behave in an unnatural way because of the environment in which they are housed. And as you said at the beginning, David, we all support something called a CAPA, a Companion Animal Protection Act. I'm all about that. I mean, if Colorado wants to be progressive, it can look at the model language developed by the No Kill Advocacy Center, and it can look at a CAPA for the state of Colorado. But this bill is not the way to move forward and show that the state is being progressive. And I hope that everyone that lives in Colorado will read the bill, will do some reading up on what it really means, to include things that have been written by Nathan Winograd. I've got a post on my Facebook page for Pause for Change on No Kill Colorado, David. I know that you've got sample letters that people can use. And I hope that people will speak out and either call or email the committee members to state their opposition to this bill so we can get it stopped.
Well, thanks, guys. That was an earful from both of you. Tomorrow is the committee meeting. The way the bills work, obviously, they go into committee. If it gets out of committee, which we hope it doesn't get out of committee, then it goes to the House, goes for a vote. Then after that, if it passes, it goes to the Senate for a vote, and then ultimately goes to the governor. So this could be a long or a short initiative that we see here in Colorado, but we'll find out more tomorrow. I appreciate you both for your time, and we'll see you next time at No Kill in Motion. This is David Smith with No Kill Colorado, Aubrey Canova with No Kill Huntsville, and Alan Rosenberg with the New Jersey Animal Observer. Thanks, everybody.